This is Brother Derek. Thank you for tuning in to the Illegitimate Game. But today I'm going to talk about a trigger word that we all hear and see everywhere because it makes people a lot of money. And it makes people happy, it makes people sad, and it gives people a lot of attention. And some people don't talk about it because they want to hide it. But that word is abuse. And we all have our understanding of abuse, our definition of abuse. 99% of us have been abused one way or the other. And 99% of us have probably abused somebody else because of our own insecurities. But I'm gonna make this a little easy and complicated at the same time. Because in my opinion, I think there's two forms of abuse. There's 100 in the books, because therapists and psychologists and doctors and mental health people want to make a lot of money. So they have 100 different definitions of abuse. I believe that there's two. And if we break it down to the two, you can find the victim and you can find the perpetrator. And then you can decide which one you are. But I believe there's two forms of abuse. We can talk about the other 99 forms later, but today we're going to talk about two. And I believe every form of abuse falls within these two categories. Category one, abuse. When you intentionally knock someone down who's standing up and they don't want to be knocked down, that's abuse. So guess what the second one is? The second form of abuse is when you see somebody down and you lift them up and they don't want to come up. That's the second form of abuse. I'm going to repeat it again. Number one, when someone's up and you knock them down against their will. Number two, when someone's down and you lift them up against their will. Because some people don't want to go down and some people don't want to come up. Both are abuse, and they will hate you for either action. There are times in my life when I hurt somebody. I'll admit it, I made some mistakes. There were times in life when I've knocked someone down and they didn't want to go down, and I was dead wrong for that. And that person became an enemy. Then we had to forgive each other and love each other again. But there are other times in my life when I tried to lift people up who didn't want to come up, and they hated me for it. And it left me thoroughly confused because I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was trying to be a good friend, a good brother, a good man. A good black man is helping another black man. A good black man helping another black woman, whatever. All the terms we use, and it could have been white Spanish, it doesn't matter. But I thought I was being good, trying to lift someone up. But there are people who are down that don't want to come up. And when you try to lift them up against their will, that's abuse. And they will hate you for it. And it will leave you thoroughly confused because you think you're doing the right thing. So it's wrong to lift people up that don't want to come up, but it's also wrong to knock people down that don't want to be knocked down. And the times I did that is just because I was bitter and being a hater and going through my own depression. So I wanted to just put a little chink in somebody else's armor with my little slick comments, or sabotaging their projects. Sometimes it was coworkers doing good, and I was going through it was about 2 years of bitterness and depression and hatred. And God is always going to win. And God knew how to humiliate me for those 2 years too. Because you're not going to hurt other people and get away with it. It's not going to happen. So for those 2 years of my life when I was just a bitter little hater, God got me back, trust me. Some people call it karma. Christians don't use karma, but God karma'd me. So, and many of us been through that. God knows how to get you. But don't knock people down that don't want to go down. That's abuse. But don't lift people up that don't want to come up, because that's also abuse. And it's super confusing because when you're trying to do the right thing and you're being persecuted for it, you don't even know how to respond. And it can make you cynical. So now, every time you see someone playing the victim card, you just leave them there. Because now you don't know who to help. And you don't know who to trust. And then you begin to question your own discernment. Like, who do I leave drowning? And who do I rescue that's drowning? And sometimes you don't even know. And I've had those moments too where it's just all about me now. I left everybody to drown. I'm getting out of here. Because I'm not going to try to pull you out the water, then you drown me because you had no intentions on being saved. Because there are people that don't want your help. And it's wrong to help people that don't want your help. And the other side is you're wasting time helping people that don't want it. And the people who do need your help can't get your attention. Because you got to understand, the victim who wants to be a victim will take all your attention, all your time, and all your resources. And they'll feed off that. They have this thing called narcissist now, but that's a different talk. We'll talk about that later. But the victim who wants to be down will take all your attention, all your time, and all your resources and prevent you from going to help other people because they're a hater too. And they're enjoying the victim thing because it brings them sympathy. And as long as you're helping them swim, they don't have to swim on their own. And if you leave them, they'll just find somebody else and play the victim, and then somebody else will come give them attention because they have no intentions on swimming themselves. So you might have to just leave them to drown, but now you're feeling guilty about it. But go save the people that want to be saved. And then, knocking people down, we do that when we're insecure. We do that when we're unhappy with ourselves. You see somebody doing better than you, and instead of humbling yourself, instead of being truthful and asking for help, you'll just try to knock them down to your level. And that's also wrong. That's also selfish. Because when God sends people into your life that's doing better than you, his intention is for you to see light. His intention is for you to come up. God doesn't put people in your life to make you feel insignificant. He sends them there for you to find significance. Because if somebody's doing better than you, learn from them. When my son said he wanted to play college football and at least have a chance to go to the NFL, I hired an NFL trainer so he can get there. I went to the man and told him, look, I need you to help my son. I can't do it. It takes bravery and courage to ask for help. It takes bravery and courage to admit you need. And going to this NFL player and saying, yo, can you help my son? I was just being super honest with him. He decided to help. And I made the sacrifice and paid for it because my son wanted to come up. So when people want help, that's who you invest in. Your time, your energy, your money, your resources. And, it was my son, so it was kind of easy, but I've done the same thing for other people. I've done the same thing for other people's children. If I can help you, I will. But the painful lesson is recognizing that there's really just two forms of abuse, and there's 100 different definitions of it. There's 100 different examples. But when you knock somebody down that don't want to go down, and when you lift someone up who does not want to come up. So think about your life. How many people have you wasted time, energy, money, and resources trying to pull them up, and they had no intentions of doing better? Jesus said it. Don't give pearls to the swine, don't give silver to the dogs. They're not going to appreciate it, and then they'll try to kill you. They'll kill your reputation, they'll waste your time. Even the reputation part, I can get over that, but I just hate the fact that I've wasted time, money, and years on people who had no intentions of doing better, because I'll never get that back. Help people that want to help. Find courageous and brave people who are willing to ask for it. And the main thing is to make sure your life is in order. Make sure you're not a hater. Make sure you don't have an ulterior motive. Make sure you're not helping people for yourself. Make sure your mind and heart and your soul is in the right place. Because the flip side is, if you're knocking somebody down, there's something wrong with you. And if you're helping people that don't want it and you continue to do it, maybe you have an ulterior motive. Because sometimes people have this Captain America syndrome where you just want to be the savior. So now you're getting attention for being the savior. And I've seen a lot of this on social media, and I've seen a lot of it on television. So many of the people I've helped in my life, nobody even knows about it. And God willing, I never intentionally seek fame for it. But the people I've helped, God knows. And what you do in secret, God will always reward you openly. That's also in the Bible. So we have to play the game the way God designed us to play the game. The illegitimate game is when we do good things for the wrong reason. The illegitimate game is when you knock somebody else down to make yourself come up. Because that's not even real. That's not even fake. Like, that's not even a real victory. You can't even be proud of yourself. And unfortunately, especially when I was younger, I've tried that. I've humiliated other people to make myself look strong. I've made that same mistake. And, you always lose when you do that because God's going to win. And because he's God, all guilty people will be punished. And I've been punished many times. If the guilty people go unpunished, then God's a liar. So don't abuse people. Don't lift people up that don't want to come up, and don't knock people down that don't want to go down. And if you need help, have the courage and the bravery to ask for it. God will send that help. Peace.